I'm Dr. Aine Moran. I'm the principal here at Cheile Secondary School, and we have been open for 5 years now, in year 5. I suppose our vision is around personalisation of learning, that we would be very student-centred in our learning, that the students would be keenly aware of where they are on their learning journey, that they would know what is their style of learner, and that they can then create their resources and use resources in the best way possible to maximise the benefit of their time in school. So the vision in the school is played out by a number of innovations in our teaching pedagogy, but one of the key things that has happened for us is the widespread use of the flipped classroom model. So the teacher records their lesson. It often takes only 10 or 15 minutes, what might take 40 minutes to teach if you had a full class group in front of you. And the students watch that video of the teachers teaching at home. It allows the students the facility to pause the teacher, to rewind the teacher, to look at it with their parents, and to gauge exactly where it is that I was able to follow the teacher up until where has the problem arisen for me, and then they have time to ask the teacher about that in class the next day. We now have the situation where students make their own flipped videos, so that it's not just the teacher teaching, it's also the students teaching. So that has proved really useful. In terms of assessment, there's a whole lot of very useful and easy apps that you can use, for example Kahoot and things like that, to gauge where the students are on their learning journey. We've tried to push the boundaries a little bit on that and use all the back data that you gather when you do those kind of quizzes to really facilitate and help us in our better planning of lessons and where it is that the issues may be arising for students. Students, because they have the use of their iPads all the time, can present their work in very different ways. If I'm teaching a concept in economics, some students might choose to give me homework in a traditional manner, even paper and pen, although they would always photograph that and send it back to me as a JPEG file so I could correct it on the iPad. But others might decide to present their work as a news broadcast, they might do a podcast, they might do a mind map. So I'd be using the same rubric to correct it, but the students can choose in what way best suits them to present their work. So a really important part of our vision in the school is around student choice. We allow students to sample all subjects. We have 17 different subjects in first year, and they sample them for the entire year. That's easy to do because we're not reliant on a book, and we have so many flipped videos that they can involve themselves with different subject areas at different times. And then at the end of first year, students get to choose what subjects they intend to keep on from all of English, Irish, Maths, our core. Everything else is part of subject choice, which has been fantastic in terms of student uptake for maybe what might have traditionally been considered minority subjects, or maybe also subjects that students often choose on a gender basis if they choose them before they come into secondary school without having actually sampled the subject. So we'd have very high uptake of girls in, say, materials technology would, very high uptake of boys taking music. Certainly the use of GarageBand and technology for music, it makes it very attractive to boys as well. Like all schools in transition year, you're looking at the issue of students having achieved at very different levels in Maths, Irish and English for their junior cycle. You might have people that have done foundation level Maths in the same class group as somebody who's got an A in higher level Maths. And how do you work that out without giving advantage to some students or disadvantaging other students? So we have taken the flipped model approach to teaching the core subjects for English, Irish, Maths. We allow students to choose which subject they're going to do on a particular day. So you may not feel like doing Maths today, but you might love to get involved with an English essay or a piece of poetry or drama. So the students choose every morning which subject that they're going to attend that day. So for a teacher, that means that they're never going to have the same class group in front of them, because different students will choose to do different subjects on different days. So all of the learning is digitalised. Students have a number of assessments that they have to get through before they can go on to the next level of this subject, and they must complete those assignments within an 8-week period. So you might decide to do all Maths for 3 weeks, all Irish for 2 more weeks, or you might be able to get through all your English assignments in a week and give much more time to maths if that's been a weaker subject for you. This year we decided to push that another little bit further, and we've introduced Blue Sky. We're interested in maybe teaching beyond the curriculum. In our Blue Sky modules on Monday morning, first, second and transition years choose from 20 different workshop style makerspace projects, so they vary from things like car mechanics to interior design to the global goals to board game production. And it's just changed what school feels like on a Monday morning, because everybody's desperately anxious to get into school, to get stuck into their project work. It's very student-led. They're mixed groups, so you're getting to work with people you wouldn't normally be in class with. It acknowledges that in some areas first years know as much as transition years, and that we all have something to learn from each other. And again, it's very much based, it's premised on the fact that we have access to technology all the time, and that we're mobile. We don't have to be in classrooms, and students can document the work that they're doing in this project work very easily using their iPads. And at the end of it, we are able to give presentations as to what we did, and then students will choose which module they'd like to do next term based on the experience of the people that have done it. So as part of our assessment procedures in the practical subjects, the students and teachers have devised competency videos. Students look at those videos on the use of different machines that they would be required to use to effectively learn in that subject, but they must pass a quiz with a 100% score before they're actually allowed on that machine. So they're highly motivated to watch those and to engage with them on a one-to-one and make sure that they know exactly the safety functions and features of that machine before they use it. The functionalities of the iPad is really, really useful within the SEN department. We have a student, for example, that can't read, and it's enormously frustrating to not be able to read or write at this stage in her education. But because the iPad can take speech to text, she's seeing her own words on paper for the first time, and that's really magical. One of the things that we decided we needed a virtual learning environment, and we chose Schoology, really because we needed a depository for the teacher resources. It looks a lot like Facebook. We have a Cheile One Voice page there where if students want help with their homework, they can ask other students for help. If we want to publicise an event within the school, if we want to offer encouragement to students that are maybe going through a difficult time. When international and national events happen, there's often conversation and debate on Schoology as well. So it's really been huge for us as a place where community has been built, and I suppose it's the natural environment for students as a place to build community. We're obviously at a very privileged position because we're a new school and we have grown together in this. People that are employed here know that we don't have textbooks, know that we're a one-to-one iPad school. We've been very lucky since we opened that we have been able to look at what other schools have been doing, take, we hope, the best from what they've been doing and develop it further here ourselves. We're one of 2 Apple Distinguished Schools in the country. Coláiste Limni have obviously been very inspirational for us. We've visited them and they've been to us. We've also been fortunate enough to be asked to speak at different events and to showcase what we've been doing. I suppose the role of principal is to be the first educator within the school, so it's always a thrill to see people learning. And when I see fantastic activity and engaged students going up and down the corridor, then I know I'm doing something right in a school.